I really love being a journalist. I love being the gatekeeper of stories. I want to be able to tell the right story because I realized when I was younger that there's a lot of gatekeepers out there that gatekeep the truth.
Meet Thato Moeng, the phenomenal Supersport sports broadcaster. In this episode, she shares her inspiring journey and reveals what it took to break barriers and thrive in the world of sports media.
Live television is one of the most difficult jobs in the world, and you make a mistake, you've made a mistake. You have to move on. You've got such a huge responsibility, and the moment you don't realize the responsibility and why you do things, that's when you just don't last.
On a personal level, 2018 comes along. Would you walk us through what happened?
I was coming from work, but the thing is, it wasn't the first time where I'd come from work and I'd been followed. And then I see there's this car man following me, but then it wasn't just one car. Now it's two cars. Oh, wow. That's when I knew I was in trouble. Got out the car, left my phones and everything in the car so they could take it. And they were like, no, Sisi, we need you in the car. And then that's when they dragged me back into the car, put me in the boot. I tried to break the boot, I tried to get out, and then they found my Supersport card. And then they said I was going to be too much trouble. And they just threw me out the car.
What is going through your mind?
Sure.
Thato,
Hey.
what's one word you would use to describe your childhood environment and the environment in which you grew up in? I'm talking primary school up until perhaps before you went to boarding school.
Sure. I would say I lived in a little fairy bubble. It was all a fantasy. It was all ice cream rosies and unicorns. It was so lovely. It was so lovely. No stress. I used to do beauty contests. So it was very nice. I actually had a very nice childhood. My grandmother used to be a seamstress and she used to make wedding dresses for the rich and famous. And so she used to have a lot of guests coming to her house. Her best friend was an artist called Doli Khatebe. She's an old jazz artist. And so that's what I'm saying, it was all like fancy, unicorns. You see all these famous people coming through to your granny's house. I'm sitting somewhere at the back while she's showing all these dresses and there's all these different people come. So it was lovely. It was really lovely.
Did you know that it was not the average in terms of household? Do you know that the way you grew up wasn't perhaps the average of South Africa?
I did because my grandmother was really popular back in the day. And she had this nice BMW. She was the first woman I saw with a cell phone. This big thing that you'd have this SIM card going in.
A Nokia.
So I did know that it was different because there was a lot of people always at my grandmother's house. At my house with my mom and my dad, it was different. It was quieter. I could see the way people treated her was a bit different. So I knew it was different, especially because I was a little 7-year-old girl with a weave and going to beauty contests. She also had her own beauty contests running around in Pretoria, about 3 or 4. So I knew she was a bit different. I knew our family was a bit different, but not that much different, just more eccentric than everybody else's. Yeah.
I heard you speak about the impact of boarding school.
Yeah.
Do you think that everyone should go to boarding school?
My daughter's going to kill me for this because I'd like to send her to boarding school. For me personally, I went to boarding school because my mom had cancer at the time. And we were really little. So I went to boarding school. I think I was in grade 1 or grade 2, but it was primary school. So boarding school was also a place where my mom was taking us so that we couldn't see her being sick. But it was also a place where I gained so much independence. It was crazy. I definitely was a little crybaby, but after going to boarding school, I learned to go places by myself, look after myself. Even when we were in boarding school, I remember we went on a tour of Zimbabwe. I think I was 10 or 9. And that already gave me a sense of a lot of independence. Maybe it won't work for everybody, but for me personally, it gave me so much independence. I can never take that away from me. I'd love to send my daughter to boarding school. She disagrees, but I love that I learned to be independent before I was 13.
Interesting. And did your mom recover?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
She did. She's still around. She did recover. But that was a moment in her life where she felt that she needed to protect us from that. And for me, I also knew she was sick. So it was very hard dealing with that, knowing that my mom is sick. Is she going to be around? Is she not? So I think that also played a key role into my independence, knowing that I need to deal with my emotions by myself as a child. And she got better, which was nice. And then I went back home, which was very difficult. And I was like, oh, I have to stay with these people.
I think that's the challenge, to perhaps adapt
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
After being away, there's, the independence that you describe, and now coming perhaps back to home where there's rules again.
Exactly. It was very difficult. I used to fight with my mom a lot. But that independence also got me to, when I was 16, I got my first job. And I've been working since I was 16 because I couldn't sit there and wait for her to do stuff for me. Like, I don't understand that concept. I must wait. No, I'm going to do things my own way. So then I got a job when I was 16. I was out the house by the time I was 18. So it's not that I didn't want to live with them. I just needed to do my own things because I was so used to being independent. And it was very difficult. But now we best friends.
And were you supported? It sounds like you were supported in
Yeah.
terms of you can just, do your thing. If you want to get a job, go get a job and just do your thing.
I was very supportive. My mom's that type of person. She's very supportive. So after I left boarding school, primary school, and in boarding school, that's when I got, bitten by the art bug. And then I told her that there's this one school I'd like to go to. It's an art school in Pretoria. And my dad and my mom had already gotten me to like St. Mary's, like, no, you can't go there. You must be a doctor. No, but I really want to go to that school. And then my mom one day came back and said, I got you an audition at that school. You're not telling your dad. We're just going to try it out. Let's go see. So I did have a lot of support from my mom. She's one person where if you want to do something, she's going to pave the way for you to do that. And you're on your own. So I think also my independence is something that I get from my mom because then I went to the school I wanted and that she helped me go to, and then she had to deal with my dad.
I think that's so interesting also because of the fact that she's not only, perhaps encouraging you, but she's going out of her way to be like,
Yeah.
go do it.
Yeah.
Just go for it. I think
Yeah.
that's so key to have just one person in your corner when you're growing up, to have that sort of encouragement. And I truly believe that, I've been speaking to a lot of people, successful people, and trying to understand like what was that early, cocoon like.
Yeah.
And a lot of them had at least one person that
Yes.
did not trample on their dreams. If they said that they wanted to do something, they were supported or encouraged. Even if it wasn't financially, it was, emotionally or mentally. And I think that's so key, not only in a young age, but also as we grow up.
As we grow up. I think right now I just realized something when you mentioned that. I think my mom was an early Christian.
Interesting.
Because even now, till today, my mom is one. If I tell her any problems I have at work, she's the first person I go to. Because it feels like she can understand. Even if she doesn't understand my industry, she'll sometimes give me an answer of, but why don't you just tell them that you can't? I'm like, Mom, I can't do that. But she tends to understand a bit more than a lot of people, even younger people, with regards to what is needed. She's got a good head on her shoulders, that lady. Yeah.
When did the journalism bug / broadcasting bug hit you?
That again is my mom. Not necessarily my mom. I really love being a journalist. I loved being the gatekeeper of stories. I want to be able to tell the right story because I realized when I was younger that there's a lot of gatekeepers out there that gatekeep the truth from people. I used to love reading the Pretoria newspaper. And then I begged them, like, you have to get a subscription. Like, okay, why? Just get a subscription. And she got a subscription. So the newspapers were mine at home, not my dad's, not my mom's. They were mine. The Sunday Times, because I really loved stories and looking at what's happening in the world. And so when I was studying at Pro Arte, this is an art school, I thought, do I want to do journalism or do I want to go into drama? And then I was like, okay, let me try film and television. Very passionate about it because that's also a way of telling stories. I studied film and television and then I failed. Editing. Oh, editing. So I'm sitting at home, I'm feeling very, very depressed. Mom, what am I going to do? She's like, well, you always used to like reading newspapers. You really always want to tell stories. There is another way for you to do that if you have failed in film. You don't have to be a filmmaker. How about journalism? Like, journalism, that's boring. I'm like, I've already passed my English and my history and everything. I could literally go to a newspaper and just, it's just not like that. You have to study it. I'm like, okay, so try journalism for a while whilst you sort yourself out and clear your mind about film and missing out on film and go do journalism. After you do journalism, you'll decide, oh boy, look at me now. I love journalism. I loved it. First year was great. When I was in my second year already, I got a job at YFM. So thanks, Mom, I suppose, again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. And the YFM, I know that you were one of the first in the Y Academy.
Yeah.
You know, that program, it was so impactful, wasn't it?
It was very impactful.
Why? And, you know, what was it? If
It was the very first of its kind. There'd never been any radio station in the country that done a program where young people actually get to apply. You have to at least be studying something. So that's when I was studying journalism, second year. And I put in my stuff. You just needed to go do an example of probably a sports bulletin or a news bulletin. And then they called me through. There were thousands of young South Africans who applied for it. And then the initial core group was 12. So the 12 then get to go to every single department. You spend 2 months at every department, music department, news department. You get to go to marketing. You get to go spend 2 months with the CEO. You get to, so you really get to shadow them everywhere they go. And then after that program, you then get marked by every single department and you either pass or fail. And that's the Y Academy. And when I look at the people who come from Y Academy, everybody is still successful, still working today at most major broadcasting stations, with SABC, Supersport, because you got to understand everybody is important within the circle. It's not just one person. Every department needs to work together. So it's helped me a lot because I also then understand holistically why lighting is important, why you need to give the lighting guy time, why you need to give the audio guy time. Everybody is important within the unit to make a production. So Y Academy was a breath of fresh air. I wish more companies would do that kind of program. Not many companies do that still today. I'm not sure if Y Academy is still running, but it's produced most of the stars you see today.
it almost makes me think of the analogy of looking behind the curtain,
Yes.
right? And I think that we can only become what we see or experience or read about or, you know about.
Yeah.
So by you essentially being exposed to the different departments, you got that opportunity to look behind the curtain.
Exactly.
What's the CEO doing? What's the marketing department? I think that's so brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was brainchild of Mr. Kenthren Pillay. Sometimes one person that is misunderstood, but he definitely, I will say, hands down, did a lot for the youth at YFM and Y Academy. That program really did very, very well.
And I don't think that many people know this, but you had many roles.
Yes.
YFM, 5FM,
Yeah.
Urban Brew, that I read that, Urban
Yeah.
Brews.
I've been working for a long time,
Yeah,
Nathan.
and you work hard. You worked hard. You work hard.
Yeah.
You know, is that kind of the secret sauce? Is it just grinding out, putting your head down?
No.
What? How did you get to this point?
You know, they always say work smart and not hard, right? Yes, I work hard. I continuously work. because I think it's because I've grown up in this industry, in the broadcast industry. It's brought me up. I was already doing Yo TV when I was younger, YFM and 5FM and all that stuff. But it's only because you have to understand your product. You have to understand who you are, what you're offering, and the kind of stations you're working for. There have been stations that have called me asking me to come. And sometimes, even if I want and the money's really good, like, I can't because it doesn't work with my business and their business. It's only going to be a few months until you're going to fire me, you know. So I love working for longevity. I know what longevity is, and I can at least identify what works for me. I think sometimes we take on jobs thinking that, oh, I'm so desperate. No, you must actually really think, does this work for me? Am I going to be able to give my all to this? Are they going to be able to make me happy as well? It's a relationship. You know, you have to have a relationship. And I think if you love your relationship, you're going to work hard on it to keep it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, 100%. I think that you mentioned so many good points there. I think the first that I want to unpack is the knowing your worth.
Yes.
I think that, and it's very understandable because of, unemployment, the rates are quite high,
Yeah.
and opportunities not
Not
that,
a lot of opportunities.
it's not a lot. Like you said, in the Y Academy alone, thousands of applicants.
And only 12.
Exactly. But then again, on the other side of it, it's essentially knowing your worth comes from the inside, right? It's not that job is going to pay you that much, and
Yes.
therefore that's how much I value myself. It comes from you.
You.
That internal work, how do you kind of frame that for yourself, and how do you think about that in your internal work, and then go to the outside and be like, hey, this is actually what I'm worth. This is what I bring to the table.
I think, Nathan, it comes back to what you said, which I think I didn't realize. It started a long time ago when I was younger. It's not something, and unfortunately, a lot of people only start thinking about those internal things when they now have to go to varsity. By the time I was at varsity, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I offer and what I don't offer. And that's why I was so disappointed when my plan of being a director or going into film didn't work out. But then you're able to, circumvent your ship somewhere else because you're okay, fine. I'm good at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is what I can offer. Maybe I don't have these, I can work on these 3 things. And you work hard on these 3 things. But these are your strong points. And you keep on sharpening your strong points, but you know this is what you offer. And you know that nobody else can do it. Sell that.
But it's even that introspection that you know what those 3 things are, right?
Yeah.
How did that develop over time?
It developed over time. And I think it's because I've been doing what I'm doing for a very long time. So after some point in time, you know that, I'm not going to do a Zulu script, and I'm never going to do a Zulu script. I'm never going to do something like, if someone comes and asks me today, go do golf. No, I'm not going to do golf. That's not my strong point. It's not my strong point.
Okay.
It's not what I do. It's not my strong point. No, you'll be fine. No, it's not what I do. I do not first like golf. I do not play golf. It's not my strong point. Yes, I can come through and pretend like I know it, but after a couple of months, I'm actually going to fall off because it's not something I love. It's not something I do. You just want me to do it, but it's not something I do. And it's very hard to say no to that because sometimes you lose yourself out of a job, right? Then you can offer something else. I can do voiceovers for you for golf. I can write scripts for you and you can help me. But me doing live golf is something I'm not going to do. But I think, like you're saying, it's over time and probably some disappointments over some years where you learn, okay, fine, this I'm not going to do anymore. It's really just learning from your mistakes and learning that don't do certain things.
And you've also worn many hats, from behind the camera to in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Behind the mic to in front of the mic.
Yeah.
Which do you feel most fulfilled doing?
Ooh, radio. The irony is, I've been working at Supersport now for 16 years. I don't know how many years I've been on TV, but radio is my favorite.
Why?
Radio is theater of the mind. And it's just the voice that is changing everyone's emotions whilst they're sitting in traffic, angry. And there's this voice that gives you information, tells you about the weather today, and tells you about how you're supposed to feel. It's like a therapist or a barman or your hairdresser in your car every single day. So people then gain a relationship with this imaginary person that they don't even have to see. They don't know. Have you noticed how disappointed sometimes you are when you finally meet a radio star that you listen to every day? Like, I thought you were taller. I thought so. You already make up this person in your mind. I think that is so wonderful. It's beautiful. That's why we actually have art, because it's up to the interpretation of the listener, the interpretation of whoever's seen this piece of art. So that's why radio is just wow.
Yes, a lot of
TV, it's easy, man. You see me, you hear me, it's there. Boom. With radio, it's literally the theater of the mind. And you get to change people's emotions every day by just your voice.
100%. I think there's a lot of influence.
Yeah.
And of course, that comes with a lot of responsibility because I've listened to a lot of, radio DJs that perhaps would just talk about crap. And I'd rather put on a podcast.
Thank you.
But then again, you have someone like you who is on radio, and they are really good radio DJs that I would really, value their opinion and how they think about things.
True.
And I think that's what you're speaking about here. Those individuals can really have the power to.
But also, Nathan, I do feel that the radio world and entertainment world has been filtered down a little bit because it seems so easy. It seems like, oh, you just put on a mic and say something. No, it's not. You've got such a huge responsibility. And the moment you don't realize the responsibility and why you do things, that's when you just don't last. And if you notice, most of the guys who last the longest on radio, they make it seem easy, like, oh, you just give. No, they actually do a lot of research. By the time they get there, they know what kind of message they need to be putting out that day. And those are the guys I respect. Yeah.
I think that's a good point. And not also bringing your own baggage into.
No, you
into
never bring
work.
your own baggage. Never. Never. That's a one rule. Never bring your baggage to work. I remember when I was at 5FM and I was pregnant with my daughter. My boss called me into the office. He said, Thato, I know you won't do it, but I always have to say it to everybody because you walk out of this office and then somebody literally goes, please don't tell us about your life. I'm like, yeah, I won't. It's like, thank you very much. Nobody's interested in your life. It's the truth. They might seem like they're interested in your life, but they're not. You're there to sort out their lives every single day. Theater of the mind.
Interesting.
You're a therapist. Nobody cares about you.
I think I'm trying to understand this point, right? Because there has to be a sense of authenticity and relatability.
Yes.
Right? So if you're not a relatable person,
True.
then the audience is, of course, not going to resonate with you.
Yes.
So how do you, do that without perhaps, sharing a bit about it?
See, now there's oversharing and then there's a time and place for everything. If, let's say, a listener calls in and asks, oh, I saw you the other day, and you then go ahead, there it's open now. But now if nobody's asking you and I'm just giving you this information, why? Why am I? There's always a what, when, why, how, and where with journalism. So now, if you're not answering any of these things, why am I talking about this? Am I leading you to something to talk about perhaps a story about mothers who are pregnant and working? No, I'm not. Did I just tell it to you and not? It all has to be theater of the mind. There's a story. You must go somewhere. There's a start. There's a climax. There's a decline. Everything has a reason. So now, unfortunately, people these nowadays don't understand that concept. We're just gonna get there, talk about Tyler's new song, and then why are we talking about Tyler though? Why?
Yeah, 100%. The relevance aspect is key.
Yeah, very key.
And is it challenging to essentially be in front of camera versus radio? Because in terms of camera, like I'm thinking about it, not only are you live, there's, as you mentioned, people speaking into your ear.
About 50 people.
50 people. Whereas like radio, cool, you live, but there's a sense of You can
Really.
relax
Listen, I
and,
used to go to radio with my pajamas,
oh,
bruh.
there we go. So, how did you, is there pressure when you, first started broadcasting, and, how did you essentially come to a point where it seems effortless?
Every day we get nervous. Even the best people in this world, trust me, get nervous. Live television it actually has been described as one of the most difficult jobs in the world. Being a live television director for sports is one of the most difficult jobs in the world. Why is that? The adrenaline rush is crazy. It is insane. And you make a mistake, you've made a mistake. You have to move on. It's how quickly you move on. And that's how we also test if someone's good at live TV. It's how quickly they move on. Yes, you made a mistake, move on. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about everything else. Get over it. You're only as good as your last game. You're only as good as your last broadcast. You're only as good. You're not Thato Moeng who's done the FIFA World Cup. No, 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 no. What was my last production? Was it a good production? Yeah, then I'm good. So you have to learn how to keep the nerves at bay. Everybody has their own ways of keeping the nerves at bay. Everybody has their own way of working. I don't think there is a trick to doing live TV. It's just they always say, throw you in the deep end and let's see if you sink or swim. It's the truth. And if you happen to swim, okay, good, you're hired. Come through. But live TV is beautiful. It's an adrenaline rush, and every day is different because today I could be doing the Cape Town Marathon. And then 2 hours later or the next day, I'm doing a CAF Champions League game. So everything is different. And you just take it as it comes, whatever's thrown at you.
But I think, you also touched on the point about being a sports director, which I think, and now that I'm thinking about it, like watching, Premier League and looking at, all those angles, and when it's a goal, that they focus on a celebration.
Yep.
Like it's so crazy,
So
the behind the scenes.
yeah, so when you come into, we've got, I don't know how many OB vans we have, but there are trucks that are basically studios on wheels. And for a normal game, I might be so wrong, but for like a Soweto derby, we'll have a different camera spec, about 50 cameras on the day. For a Cape Town City Amazulu game, a different spec, 30 cameras. And there's one director who has to man all these cameras. So it's a van, and inside the van, there's like 30 monitors, and all those monitors are active. And then he literally goes blue, red, yellow, blue, red. And then there's someone who does EVS, and there's someone who's editing live on TV to go back to that goal so that it replays again. And if you ever get the chance, Nathan, get yourself into an OB van during a live match, and you will be blown away at what we actually do. And I think that's what people don't understand. I'm just a little speck in this whole production, and it's just my 2 minutes. So you also are responsible. That's what I'm saying. It's teamwork. Everything's in a nerve center working together. That 1-2 minutes messes up, you mess up the whole production. Your camera has the wrong angle, you mess up the whole production. The director you mess up the whole production. So we're all very important, intricate parts of each other. There's no one who's more important. There's no superstar there. We're there to work and make a production.
How did you get to Supersport?
Oh, Supersport called me.
As they would.
No, but I was at YFM at the time. And I really I thought I was ready. I'm a big girl now. Now I've done it. And at the time, I was the newsroom manager at YFM. So I felt like, I've outgrown this now. I've done everything around here. And then the 2010 FIFA World Cup was coming up. And as we're hosting it here in South Africa, and I'm like, it's been my dream. I'd love to work at Supersport. And I really wanted to work at Supersport. And then I called them. Hi, I'm Thato. I'm from YFM. I do this. I don't know if you guys are looking for people. Yeah, we'll call you. Yeah, they'll call me. They will call me. I'm going to try again. I'm going to emotionally put myself on the table again. Call this lady. Her name was Pelisa. Hi, Pelisa, how you doing? Yes, I'm looking. I'll let you know when there's space and there's time. I waited for 2 years. I got angry and I was like, they clearly don't want me. Um, I'm not the kind of person. I'm over it. I'm gonna move on to my next grab what I want to do. And then they finally called me. I think it was 2009 or 2010. And by that time, I was packing to leave the office. And they called me on my land that, hi, we're looking for Thato. I'm like, she's not here. Who's this? No, it's Supersport. It's just that we've got an edition today. And I'm like, they're calling me today. These people are not serious. They're asking, can she come through? I'm like, yeah, I'll ask her. Drop the phone. I tell my friend Len, I'm like, Len, I'm not going there. He's like, no, why aren't you going there? I'm like, I waited so long. They didn't take me seriously. At the time when I wanted to go there, they didn't give me the opportunity. So I've outgrown it now, and I don't think it's for me. And he's like, no, just go, just go. So I just went to please myself. I wasn't even dressed nice. I went to please myself, left immediately from work, went to Supersport, and it was audition with Robert Marawa for his new show. When I got there, he was also pissed off. He was really angry. Why did we have to wait for her? Why? He wasn't the friendliest person ever. So we were sitting next to each other and I was doing this audition, but we weren't really, vibing at all.
Oh, because you were late.
Yeah, I was late. And also, I was late because I wanted to be late because I was really nonchalant about it. It was just a mess. And he was late for his show, right? And then they waited for me. And we did this audition and it was great. Killed it out the park because I'd just written the news bulletin anyway at YFM with similar stuff. And they asked me about everything but football, sports-wise. Swimming, I think it was cricket, rugby, everything but football. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I left. I even said to Robert, shot, see you next lifetime. It's great meeting you. Left. I didn't know I'd gotten the job. The next day they called me and I'd gotten the job and I started on the Thursday.
And what was it like being on Robert's show? Because I mean,
It was
I used to
really,
watch that show.
listen, it was really,
He's next level.
he is next level. But I think also, Nathan, that's what helped me a lot also with understanding myself as a broadcaster. You see Robert Marawa, this big broadcaster. He's a big guy. He's done so much. And at that time, I think it was just 2010 after the World Cup. And I used to work with him every single Thursday on the show. When he came into studio, he grabs the running order and he looks at it. Okay, we're talking about this. Okay, great. And he only has 5 minutes. And I see the way, you then get to see the way he works. He's just come from somewhere. He runs in, greets everybody, respects the lighting guy, the audio guy, right? But the minute we're about to now go on air, what's wrong, Rob? I'm a bit nervous. You nervous? What? How can Robert Marawa be? He used to get nervous every single Thursday. It was always okay, ching chong cha, we're going. You going first, I'm going first. I don't know. But we're both now nervous, which made it so much easier for me. I thought I was only being nervous because I just started. But he was getting nervous and it's his show. But you then learn you only get nervous for something you care about because you want to do it so well. That's why you get nervous. So they always say the moment the butterflies stop in your stomach, stop doing it. Just stop doing
It's
it.
almost this anticipation, this excitement towards
Exactly. Excitement, nerves. Am I going to? And Robert used to make mistakes all the time, you know? And that was also one thing that was so wonderful. He used to make mistakes live on TV, talking about a Soweto derby. It's Chiefs and Sundowns, move on. And I'm like, it's how he got over it. He got over it very quickly. Now to sit there and lull about the mistake, he just made a. If I made that mistake, I'd be graded like nuts. But it's how you get over it, the finesse. So I learned so much from Robert Marawa, not because he was Robert Marawa, because he was a human. He was a human, and now he's like my brother. We get on very well. I love that man to bits. And it's because I got to see the human element every single Thursday. And I didn't get to see that whole big facade of Robert Marawa, but I actually got to meet Rob. Yeah, so. It was really cool.
It's a really good point about, yeah, of course, like being a human first, and then
Yeah.
your craft
Yeah.
or what it is that you do, but fail fast. So like in the business world, they tell us all the time, and I've been reading books about this, is fail fast. Try something, if it doesn't work, move on.
Yes.
That's the mentality that we need to have. And it's
Yes.
interesting how also in a corporate environment, you make a mistake, you move on.
You move on.
You learn from it. Hopefully, you don't keep on
The
making the
same
same
mistake.
mistakes,
Exactly.
because then you're not learning your lesson.
Exactly.
But it's that that fail fast mentality.
Fail fast,
And-
because it's live TV. It's moving. Nobody cares that you failed. Yes, they saw it, but nobody really cares.
Something that I'm also learning to do and to practice is not taking it personally.
Yes.
I think that is
Don't
so
take it
key.
personally. Don't take it. They always say you have to have thick skin, but then you actually realize that that human element comes into play with even the audience and ourselves. Sometimes forgive someone for saying something out of turn that you'll take personally. They're having a bad day too,
Yeah, that's where
and
the
they just
empathy comes in.
yeah, they're just looking to take it out on somebody. Okay, it's me today. Fine. But get over it. The world moves so quickly. We're not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. You really need to not take things personally, unless it's a physical thing. I mean, like, you can't take anything personally. That's one thing broadcast teaches us. Someone will write something on social media. You'll read it, laugh about it, move on. But it obviously does take a long time. When it started, obviously, you would cry about it. Then you realize, I'm sitting here crying. That person's not.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this to myself?
Do you know the blue hair analogy?
No.
So if I keep on saying, "Hey, I don't like your blue hair. I don't like your blue hair," what's your first response to what I'm saying?
Okay.
You don't have blue hair.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna think I'm crazy. Like, what is
Yeah,
this guy
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
That's the same thing with like people attacking us,
Okay.
because it's not true. So if they say, "Oh, we don't like the way you present,"
Yeah.
or X,
Yeah,
Y,
yeah,
and Z,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
you're only gonna get triggered by it if deep down you know that it's true.
Yes.
But if you don't believe that to be true,
if you don't believe it,
you're gonna be like, "What are you saying?" Like,
it's like someone who'll say, I find it so funny. And someone will be like, hey, do you know this person? Yeah. Oh, I don't like the way they speak. I'm like, oh. And it's like, they can't change that. So you don't like the way someone sounds. And because of that, there's something wrong with you, brother. You just don't know it. But it's funny how people sometimes don't know what they don't like. They just say it because everybody else is saying it, or because someone is different, or someone is, why don't you like that person? I don't like the way they talk. The way they talk, not the information they're giving you, not the way they talk. I'm like, okay, that's your own issues. But people are very complex, and we can't serve everyone. You can't make everybody happy. That's one thing we also learn. You can't make everybody happy, and you're not here to make everybody happy. You're here to do your job.
And being in an environment, you mentioned so many things already that, allow Supersport to be successful and to continue to, be one of the best in the continent.
The world.
Okay, the
Get it
world.
right. Joking.
What other things have you learned in terms of like from operational point of view to continue to be this A-level player? What are some of those traits and things that they do?
I think for me, it's knowing what we do at Supersport. An example would be going to, say, a FIFA World Cup, right? You get there and it's an operational level. Everybody who's there, from Sky, from Canal Plus, from BBC, we're all there to do the same thing. And trust me, everybody in those spaces is just like you and I. They just want to get the job done. So knowing what you're there for is very important. Getting the job done is very important. And knowing how to also relate to other people. People will come to you, I'm like, you're still new at your company. Like, we all look at each other within the sense that we're like, that's someone new. You let them be, they'll get over it because everybody has the same job. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter which company you work for. As professionals, we already know when we get there that we're here to do a FIFA World Cup. You have to get a story done and get it out. Get a story done and get it out. You get to the field, someone gives you a bib, and then when you go fetch the bibs, you don't get them be like, oh, I'm from Supersport. Hi, how are you? Are you good today? Great. I'm Thato. Oh, okay, great. Everybody's still a human. At the media center, don't just get there. I'm super. They're gonna ignore you. You get there, be a human first. How are you today? Great. I've got a slot for this time. I'm here to fetch my bibs for Supersport. Oh, okay. Sorry, you've missed your time, but you actually can have your bibs because you were nice when you got there. If I'd gotten them like, I'm Supersport, this is my time, they're gonna take their time to give you the stuff. And you're gonna go back to work and they've paid millions of rands to get that slot or millions of dollars. And you've missed it because you got there and you were no, like I said, we're humans first and then we're broadcasters second. So the human element has to come out. Everybody's at work, everybody's under pressure, everybody's got their bosses sitting on their necks. But we're all here to do one thing, a FIFA World Cup and get our stuff out. So it's very important to know how to work around people. And it doesn't matter even if you work at Canal Plus or FIFA, those people also have bosses. Everybody's under pressure. So understanding that is very key.
And what I'm hearing from that is also what you put out is what you get back.
Yes.
If you put out this energy of like,
yes,
almost arrogance because
Yes.
I'm here because I'm
no.
super sport.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get
You're going to
people-
get arrogance doesn't work in this world at all. At all, at all, at all, at all. You can be arrogant on TV and whatever, but arrogance does not work. I think arrogance doesn't work anywhere in the world because everybody has a tough time, man. Someone in the morning right now, their tire probably just got punctured. They're getting to work late. Their daughter or kids didn't want to go to school. Everybody's got pressure. So it's very important to know the kind of world and surrounding you're in. You could be somewhere in Paris and you're stuck there. What you gonna do? You're stuck in Cameroon. What you gonna do? Supersport is not gonna come save you. They're very far, very, very far away. So you need to know how to be independent yourself, get things done. Sometimes, let's say they haven't booked a slot, but because the guys in the media center know that you've been coming through every day, you've been coming on time, you were never late, you were not a nuisance for everybody, they'll be like, oh, there's this slot. Come take this slot.
You're a likable person.
Not even, you don't have to be likable. It's not about likability. It's about respect.
Okay.
Respecting other people and what they do. They didn't just fly out from wherever country they are at, Guinea, all the way to Paris to come sit around and serve Nathan, right? They're also there to work. So it's beautiful to see how a whole world can work together from different places to get a tournament going. But there'll be that one person that everybody looks like, "Ah."
On a personal level, 2018 comes along and the fateful incident happens.
Ah, yes.
Before I go into the foundation, would you walk us through what happened?
Actually, it was 2019. Was it 2018 or 19? I don't even remember the year anymore. But I was coming from work. Yeah. Work gets me into a lot of trouble, doesn't it? I was coming from work, but the thing is, Nathan, it wasn't the first time where I'd come from work and I'd been followed, right? So I remember that's when I asked my brother to come live with me because then he worked at night so that I could go pick him up close by from work and we could drive back home together. And so this one night when I came back from work, he wasn't around, right? So I came back from work by myself. And then I see there's this car man following me. So I already know that by the time I live by the plots, by the time someone's following, my brother always says, switch off the lights and just hit and run to the police station. So we already had our little ways of going to the police station, switching off the lights. And now he wasn't there. So now I switch off the lights. I see this car's following me. But then it wasn't just one car. Now it's two cars. The other car comes from the other side. Was like coming straight down this way, and then I was coming this way. So this car's following me, and then here comes this other car, and then they sandwich me. Oh, wow. That's when I knew I was in trouble. And then I got out the car, Because I'm from Joburg, I'm not gonna fight you. You don't fight. Got out the car, left my phones and everything in the car so they could take it. And they were like, no, Sissy, we need you in the car. And then that's when they dragged me back into the car, put me in the boot. So what they do, it's like a syndicate. They take you and then they go empty out all your bank accounts, but then they need you with them. They can't let you go because if they let you go, you're gonna alert the police and they can't finish what they're doing. And then they empty out your bank accounts. Then they took me some other place. Now that's when they stripped the car. I'm still in the boot. They stripped the car. They're looking for the trackers, looking for the trackers of the car, looking for the trackers of the car. And then after that, once they've taken out the trackers, then they move you to another car. It's like a whole thing.
What is going through your mind during that?
Oh no, I was dead. I was like, oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. It's fine. I'm dead. I'm never coming out of here. I'm dead. Oh well. What am I gonna do? No point in being scared. No point in screaming and crying because that's also gonna get you into more trouble. So I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. I don't know. I don't know. What was I thinking? Then they put me into the other car. When they put me into the other car, that's when I started panicking because then I realized, okay, this is now going towards the end part. I tried to break the boot. I tried to get out. And then they found my Supersport card. So when they took me, they asked me what my name was. And I said I was Karabo. They're like, Karabo. I'm like, yeah, I'm Karabo. I'm going to go see my boyfriend. What are you doing? I'm going to go see my boyfriend. Because they were like really close to my house. And I was scared that they were going to go to my house and then try to take everything from my house, my daughter, my husband, people at my house. So I said, no, I'm actually here just to see my boyfriend. I got lost on the street. I don't know where this is. Oh, I'm Karabo. So they didn't know who I was when they took me. I was when they got into the other car and they saw my Supersport access card. And then they said I was going to be too much trouble. And they just threw me out the car, literally with my legs, and just pulled me out the boot, the front of the back seat, because I'd broken the boot now from trying to open the boot. And then they just took me from the back seat and they just threw me out with my legs. I've never been so happy in my life.
Where's the justice there?
Oh, no. The justice is I'm here. That's it. For me, I mean, I'm here. I'm still able to, my daughter's 10 now. That's what makes me happy. I can sit here and tell you about it today. They found my car. I didn't want my car back. I'm like, "Oh, I still don't drive today. I haven't bought a car because someone's just going to take it. Yes, there is no justice, but I'm not the first person this has happened to in this country. It happens to a lot of people. More than anything, it's more to say, how do you tell people to protect themselves better? Don't fight. Don't fight. Whatever you do, don't fight. Because these people are angry. They're off from another job. They've been following you for a while. They're not just coming to, and it's just a car. It's honestly, it's just a car. It's just a cell phone. Your life matters way more than any of these things. Literally just give it to them. Please give it to them. You can get another one. No one can replace a nation. No one can replace me. Our families would be sitting here talking about, every single time I see videos of people fighting back, I'm like, oh, don't fight back. Our lives are more valuable than those things that they're taking.
Was that the reason for starting the foundation?
Yeah, it was. Because I then sat in that car, like, oh, what have I been doing with my life? Like, oh, my life is ending tonight. Oh, what have I done with my life? Oops, nothing. Yes, I work at Supersport, but I don't think that's something I've done with my life to give back to people. That's what I do for myself. It's not something I do for other people, And then I realized that, oh, what a life. I'm going to be gone and I haven't done anything for somebody else. So that's when I was like, I have to make sure that what I do at Supersport, I might think it's just me living out my passion every single day. But then I started realizing that every day people see you do have a certain influence. Start using your influence to help others. I don't like using my influence for myself. I find that so selfish, but use your influence for somebody else. And that's when I started the foundation.
100%. And what's the mission?
Helping young girls, especially young girls in poor communities. A lot of young girls don't get told the intricacies. It's just like, oh, go to this varsity, but they don't even know what varsity is. They don't even know what the first two steps of these things are. You spoke about we've got such a big gap between rich and poor. Those poor kids are not all going to go work jobs where they, you don't have to have any qualification. We need to make sure that we get more people to get qualified. And they're very smart children out there. They just don't have the avenues to go to varsity. They don't have the avenues for someone to tell them that, like my mom did and said, no, you actually can go study drama. You can go study drama, As a poor child sitting there in Guguletu, you're thinking, oh, I must go do accounting. I must go do medicine. And that's the only thing that's going to get me out of it. There's so many different opportunities. So what I wanted to do with the foundation is make sure that I connect these young girls with people in those industries, people who do look like them, people who come from where they come from, to see that, oh, I can be a monsieur. I can actually be a makeup artist, a really good makeup artist, and make money from that. So that's what I've been trying to do with the foundation, connecting people with their dreams.
And how can people support you from
Yeah, actually, the most important thing I think is for me, for my foundation, is not the finances. It's if you are like a lawyer, an advocate, contact us and find out who would like help and assistance with a young girl who wants to be a lawyer. Give her advice as to what she has to study, which are the good varsities to go to, where she can apply for bursaries, what she can do. If her marks aren't good enough, she can then focus more on this and that. Because I know finances, when you start talking finances with people, everybody runs away. I'm looking for time. Time. Donate your time and your skills to help someone who's younger get to where you are. That's what I need. And of course, if you can donate a laptop or two, data for them to do their homework and things like that. I think those are the important things. But really just trying to get those talented young girls stuck in those spaces out from the darkness. I think that's important. Can you imagine if you had the opportunity when you were younger to meet perhaps the CEO of Standard Bank and he tells you his story of how he got there, and then you realize, oh, it wasn't all just going to varsity, and would have made such a difference. You would have seen life so differently. So I think that's what I want to do with the foundation.
100%. That's such a good point. I mean, one of the intention of the podcast is to, get these individuals on so we can look behind the curtain and understand how they got to where they are.
Yeah, exactly.
In this season of your life, what drives you?
This season of my life, what drives me is realizing the influence I have and really focusing on the continent. I love my continent so much, Nathan. I love the continent. And I'd love to go to every single country. I'd love to see where we can change things. I love the fact that women's football is on the rise. So yeah, that's the season I'm at now. I want to be a change maker. I want to be a serious change maker, not just play anymore. That's the season I'm at. I'd like to, like I said before, make sure I leave an indelible mark that's not just people, talking. No, I want something physical that you can say that, because Thato came and built this program 10 years down the line, now we have this. That's the season I'm at now. That's what I actually want to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thato, thank you. This was super cool. The last part of the podcast is called the Fast Fire. So I'm gonna ask you
we done already? No, man. I don't want to leave.
That's
fast
good.
fire.
Fast fire. So I'm going to ask you these questions. If you can answer in a word or a short sentence.
Funny enough, I always do
amazing.
these, and it's so funny people's reaction. Now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you usually the one that's doing the interviews,
I
aren't
know.
you?
So I'm like, okay.
What's one thing you wish you knew when you were 20?
Finances. Save, 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 save. I should have saved more money.
Save and invest.
Save and invest. Yes, save and invest. Oh, yeah. See, I'm still learning.
That's funny. What's one thing you would change or improve about the broadcasting industry in South Africa?
The way we treat new people when they come into the industry, the way we treat women, that's one thing I would change, definitely. Taking care of young people.
Yeah, we didn't actually talk about. I mean, over the past couple of years, it's been more females in the broadcasting industry, which has been amazing. And just a follow-up question: do you think that it's because of more Tatos being on stage,
Yes,
being in front of camera? Sorry,
definitely.
people seeing you.
Definitely. Because I mean, when I was growing up, I only knew Cynthia Chaka, Cass Naidu, and Carol Chabalala. That was it. Finish and claw.
Across all sport.
Finish and claw. That was it. That was it. That's all we had. And that's why I suppose when I came up at YFM, I got a lot of backlash from the guys. Luckily, I was very stubborn. I got a lot of backlash, even from the ladies. Everyone's, oh, does she know what she's talking about? Does she know? Did you not hear what I said?
I like it. If you could make one rule that everyone has to follow, what would it be?
Be nice. Be nice. Be kind. Not nice. Be kind. Be kind. Be kind. We don't know what people are going through every single day. You see the rates of suicide every day. People are struggling out there, financially, emotionally. People are struggling. Be kind. Don't add on to their problems, please.
100%. Next steps, what can you share with us personally, professionally? What's in the pipeline, 2025?
You know, I can't share. Oops. But you said save and invest. Yeah, that's what I can. Pipeline
That tells me
2020.
nothing.
I know, but I'm a journalist. I'm not supposed to actually give you my scoops, right? There's something very nice that I'm working on. It's not mine personally, but it's just, segueing a little bit away from sport. I've also been trying to work with banks in South Africa. I also went and did Canex with Afrixim Bank. So yeah, I'm trying to get into that space, just a little bit. So I just got myself a nice new client, which I'm very, very excited about. And I can't say anything about it, but yeah, now you guys are going to see me talk about finances a bit more.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. Off the record.
Yeah.
But thank you, Tasa. This was so cool. Thank you for sharing your story.
It was really
but also like
cool.
the impact that you're making, not just from broadcasting and being an example, but you had that experience, the near-death experience, and you channeled that into something that's so productive and impactful. So thank you for doing that, and
thank you
for giving me your
Nathan.
time.
Thank you, Nathan. I actually sometimes forget. A lot of people don't ask me about my foundation. So thank you so much for actually asking me about that, because sometimes I also get so busy with life. And I think the hijacking was also something, my lesson I learned from it. It was my creator telling me to slow down and look at my life.
And move to Cape Town.
Yes, and move to Cape Town.
Thank you.
That's it.